Hey piggies, how you doing? You guys doing good? Hey, yeah. Looks like you got plenty of mud in your pen. All the rain we've been getting. Morning goats. Hadn't Rebecca got you guys sold yet? Yeah, you guys are supposed to find a new home. Morning Maya. Morning sheep. Morning boys. How are you guys doing today? You guys got any salt left in here? Yeah, got a little bit. Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. So today I am going to start a brand new farm project today. It's actually a fairly big project. It's going to be multiple stages. It's going to be quite a bit of work. And this is all part of our business plan. We set out and made a 5-year business plan, and it's turning out to be more like a 6-year business plan. But this is all part of the big plan for the property as we get it developed. So if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, we ended up buying this 41 acres in the fall of 2015, and it took us 2 years to clean this place up. It was an old abandoned farm just full of junk. And then from 2017 to around 2019, we built our house and developed our homestead on the property, got our orchard, garden, everything in place. And since then, we've been developing the rest of the acreage and slowly turning the rest of it into a small farm. So last year we made 2 big investments in the farm. One of them was this fenced in area right here. We fenced in this small pasture here, and it actually connects the livestock barn down here to the other pole barn at this end. It kind of fills in the space in between. And the other big investment was a round baler. We bought a round baler to make hay last year. That was a little over $4,000 investment for the round baler. And those were our 2 big things that we did last year. We were supposed to do a third, but we didn't get it done. And that was going to be some type of area to work cattle, to be able to run them through a squeeze chute, to be able to give them shots if they need it, if they're sick, to be able to work on them, to be able to artificially inseminate, preg check, do all the stuff. You need some type of handling facility if you're going to have cattle full time. And that is the plan. The plan is to eventually get to a small herd, and we need some type of working facility. But we did not build that last year. That was going to be a pretty big investment and pretty big amount of time to do that. So instead of building a corral out here, taking up part of the pasture, we'd have to redo this fence line right here. I've decided to put the cattle handling equipment inside of this white pole barn. And specifically, it's going to be that back half, that far half of the pole barn is going to be cattle handling equipment. This half right here is going to be hay storage, just like what we have right now. And we'll probably put a short wall in between them to separate. But that's the plan. I want to put the equipment in here. I think it's going to make it a little bit easier since there's already a little bit of structure here. I won't have to build as many fences because the walls will work as the fences, right? Or as the corral. But the reason I want to move that in here is last weekend we were outside with Lucy, our sick milk cow. She ended up dying on us, but we were out here working with her and through the rain all weekend long. It rained every day, and we were out here in the mud and in the rain giving her shots twice a day, and we were out here trying to get her up when she got down. And it would be a lot nicer to be able to do that in here, out of the rain, out of the mud, out of the sunshine. It'd be easier on us. It'd be easier on the cow that we would be working on. Plus, we'll be able to have a pin inside of here as well. So if we need to isolate a cow and pin her up, we can just pin her up in here as well. And I think it's just going to work out better for us having it in here, and the equipment stuff's just going to last longer being in here out of the rain as well. So I think it's probably the best choice. If we can get everything, or at least the majority of it, under cover, we'll be better off. So your biggest piece of equipment for cattle handling is definitely your squeeze chute. We had some prior experience. We had to borrow a squeeze chute on our first set of steers. We had one where the band did not take when they tried to turn him into a steer, and everything swelled up. It got infected, and we had to run him through and give him shots, and a few times. And that was very much a learning experience. on squeeze chutes and getting cattle in them and giving them shots. And we know what we liked and didn't like about the whole experience. And we decided to buy this. This is a Lakeland Farm and Ranch Easy Catch squeeze chute. This is a deluxe squeeze chute, okay? We invested quite a bit of money to buy this, and we did that for quite a few reasons. So let me explain why we chose this one. All right. So this squeeze chute here has a automatic catch on the head gate, and there's a lot of brands out here that don't even offer an auto catch. And Rebecca was the main decision maker on that. She did not like the manual catch because last time she had closed the gate on their head or you end up missing. And she did not like having to try to time it and close the head gate and just catch right in the neck, right? And catch them on the shoulder, especially being novices like we are. So Rebecca said that an auto catch was a must. Okay, so there's a lot of brands out there that don't even offer an auto catch feature. And the cattle that we run don't have horns, okay? So we don't have to worry about horns catching that as they try to walk through. So we run polled cattle, so we don't have to worry about horns. That's something you want to definitely, the auto catch may not work if you have animals with big horns. And so this would work for us, and it did work for us last weekend with Lucy. So when your cow runs through, their shoulders will hit this gate, and as they push, it automatically locks around their neck. Now once you got them in here, you're going to want to try to give them shots. And the cattle squeeze that we borrowed was not designed well for shots. We had a hard time getting to their neck because they're pinned in here, and they could move forwards and backwards from their jaw to their shoulders. And it was hard to get them to stay still and give them shots. Now this one actually it's basically a neck holder on it. It's gonna squeeze their neck, so it's gonna hold behind their jaws. The gate will hold their shoulders, and it's gonna hold their head out. And it really minimizes how much they move around when you're giving them shots. And for us, especially being novices like we are, we thought that something to hold the head was also pretty critical to have. So the way this works, take your handle here, and basically this squeezes out, and then their head gets caught in here. It will make their head turn to the side just a little bit, and it actually, their neck is like right here, where you can see their neck, shoulder, back of their jaw. You can see their neck, and you could give them shots this way. That's one way to be able to give them shots, but it definitely, once you get their head in this little area, they can't move around on you. And we found that that's definitely another feature that we wanted when we purchased a squeeze chute. So the other way you can give a cow a shot is to try to reach through the squeeze and get to their neck from inside of here. And this does have, I don't know what exactly they call this, but it's basically a vaccination door of some sort. So you can open this up and you have clear access to the back of their neck. And the problem is you don't want your hand pinched in somewhere in case they jump up and down, right? So you've got a nice opening where you're not going to get your arm pinched to be able to give them shots from this area as well. So if you need to access the side of the cow, of course all these doors, they just flip down like this, and then you can get to their side if there's something that you need to work on the side of them. I will say that both sides of this chute are identical. Both of them have this vaccination door. Both of them open up and operate the same way. A lot of cattle chutes will only have the features on one side, less features on the other. These are identical, exact same features both sides. And it has these little blinders on the side that's supposed to help move the cattle through so they don't see you through the side of their eye and move straight forward to the light. And this is, so far, I mean, we have used it, I think, about 3 times, and it's a very nice squeeze chute for sure. So if you need to work on their hooves, I love this swinging door. Some of these you have to remove a whole panel, and you have to take the whole panel out. This one just swings open, and it's got a slam latch. Or if you need to open the whole thing, you can open the whole thing up, and you can get to them. and that's really nice too. In fact, if you have a cow that didn't want to get in there quite right, and you could just let them out the side and they could walk out the side if they needed to. So since Rebecca doesn't want to have a bull on the property, she doesn't even want to rent a bull. She wants to do artificial insemination on the cows. That's the way she wants to do it. And since we're going to do that, we decided we wanted to have a palpitation cage, and that is this little box on the back. And that allows you access to get in here and to work on the back of the cow. And that's definitely probably necessary if you're going to artificially inseminate. And then it also has a nice sliding door that you line up with your alleyway. So this squeeze chute is what they call a parallel squeeze, and that means both sides come in together evenly. The one we borrowed was like a bottom squeeze. It hinges at the bottom, and it just the top moves in, and it kind of cups the cow. And this is a parallel, so it gets good even pressure on both sides. And it's just done by this handle. And then you just release it with this handle, and then you can open it back up. But you can see how it moves in. It's nice and parallel. I think I've covered most of the features on this squeeze chute. It is an auto catch, and it's made so you can operate most of it from back here. So when the animal goes in, his head will pull into that, he'll lock in. And then when you want to release him, you can pull on this rope, and then that'll unlatch like that, and then he should be able to run out, push these open, run out, and then it's supposed to go backwards. See, it went all the way back, and it's now in the catch position again. And it's ready to catch the next cow. And it needs it's been out here in the weather, it needs a little bit of grease. It's got grease circs on all of this. Once I get that greased up, it'll move a lot better. But it is basically supposed to release the animal, go automatically back into the catch position so that you can catch the next one. And like I said, this is it's a big investment, and we decided to go this route. We looked at a lot of cheaper ones, and a lot of the cheap ones, I just did not like a lot of their features. And we went with this one because, like I said, when you buy one, it seems like everybody has one for the rest of their life, right? So if we're going to buy this, and then we're going to be doing this for the next 20 years, 25 years, I thought, well, I might as well just put the money up front, right? And buy a good one. And that way, one, I'm not disappointed or frustrated. I've got something that's going to work good for the next several years, for a couple decades. And the other thing is, it's less stressful. As long as everything goes well, you got one that works well, it's going to be less stressful on the cattle as well. So that's kind of the main reasons we went this route, instead of kind of going with an economy model. And so this is, it's a big investment going this route, but I sure couldn't find anything used that would meet all of those things, right? I mean, you wanted an auto catch, you wanted something to hold the neck, we wanted something to make it easy to give shots, we wanted a palpitation cage, and yeah, I mean, it's hard to find something that we were happy with that had all those things. So I think this one we're going to be very happy with. So to start off this project, all this junk that's right here is right in the way, right? So I'm gonna have to get all this stuff moved, and then we've got a cluster of sassafras trees here that we need to cut down. And I've known I needed to cut these down. They're right here where we put this gate, and this gate is what's going to lead out to this area, which will lead out to our working facility, which will go down the side of the barn and then around and back in the barn. So let me grab a chainsaw, and I'll start off by getting all of these trees cut down, and then we'll get the tractor, we'll haul them off, and then we'll try to haul all this junk out of here and just kind of clear this area out. And then I'll go and I'll show you basically a picture of what our cattle handling facility is going to look like. I'll kind of give you an overhead view of what the major plan is. Apparently the steers like the sassafras leaves. I'm pretty sure that dried sassafras leaves is some kind of Cajun seasoning. I think it's called Fila. I don't know what it's called for sure. But yeah, they use the leaves for seasoning. I think they use the roots. Isn't that where the root beer flavor comes from? Sassafras tree roots? I think so. Here you go, boys. This one's got a lot more leaves. And these little branches from sassafras are good natural fire starters. They're actually fairly flammable. They start fires really well. All right, boys, I think you've had enough. I'm gonna move these. I'm gonna come back with the grapple. I'm gonna pick these up. They're gonna be gone here in a minute. So I have a brush pile where I normally pile up all these limbs and then I burn it in the wintertime. But I can't get to it right now because I've got an area where I've planted grass and it's all wet from the rain, and I'll just tear that up. I don't want to tear it up. So I'm going to make a temporary brush pile up here. I've already got a bunch of limbs that fell down in a storm about a week and a half ago, and those were all laying on the billy goat fence. So I think I'm just going to take these storm damaged limbs and the ones in the tractor. We'll just make a temporary brush pile right here, and later down the road when it's drier in the summer, we'll move it back to where it's supposed to be. Well, I ended up putting the brush right on top of this garden hose that feeds the water trough, and I pulled it out. I'm not sure exactly how much of this I broke. I may have pulled the threads right off of this. Well, now they're out of the way. So the float inside that water trough actually has got like a check valve in it. It's one of these Job float valves, and you ain't gonna probably be able to see it. It's just kind of barely dripping out of there. So that water trough will stay filled up at least for a little while we get the rest of this cleaned up. All right, I think we got everything cleaned up here in front of the white pole barn. Man, this was just like a collection area for a bunch of junk. I mean, there was even scrap pieces of wood and stuff laying around on the ground. We've got a whole truckload of everything that we picked up that was laying out here. So we'll get this all hauled off. But at least this area, I think, is cleaned up for now, good enough for now. We still got these stumps over here. I cut the trees off awful high, and you can see these stumps are sticking up out of the ground. I got two choices. I can either cut these off as close to the ground as possible, but I still think they're going to be a problem for this gate right here. I think it's still not going to want to open up. So I think I'm just going to leave them the way they are and come back later with the backhoe and just see. There's a bunch of little stumps everywhere around here, and just see if we can dig these out of the ground instead. I think I'd rather just have them completely out. So we'll come back and we'll do that another day, and then we'll also come back and continue cleaning out this fence line here and cleaning down that direction, because we got to get a new fence in here for the big picture to be able to build our working area for the cattle. We're going to need this fence line cleaned out and the new fence put along this side. So I went ahead and I drew out my plan for our cattle handling here on the blackboard. So let me take you in closer and I'll show you exactly what we plan on doing to the white pole barn and how we're going to set everything up. So let's go ahead and look at the changes to the white pole barn first. So this orange line represents a new fence that'll go right down the middle. It'll separate our hay storage side from our cattle handling side. And then we've got to cut out two new doors. So there'll be a doorway here, and there'll be another doorway down here at the bottom. This doorway is going to lead into a bud box, which is basically going to be about a 12 by 15 pin. And we got to put some fencing up to make that, and it will lead into this alleyway, and we've got to build this alleyway as well. And then right here is going to be our squeeze chute where we work the cattle, and then when we release them, they will exit the squeeze chute out this door and back out to pasture. So once we get the old fence line cleaned out, we're going to install a new fence along the west side of the pole barn. And between this fence and the pole barn, we're going to put a series of 3 gates. And this is going to create 2 bunching pens, so we can bring the cattle in to this pen, into this pen, and then into the bud box, through the squeeze chute, and then back out to pasture. So that's the basic layout for what I have planned. Hopefully you guys understood that. We're going to work the cattle basically around the west side of the building, and then to the back of into the bud box, back down the squeeze chute, and then out to pasture. I think this is going to work out fine for us. You never know till you start building it. This may end up being way too tight. This pole barn is not very big, so we may find that there's not really enough room to do exactly what I want. I may have to get rid of the hay storage, put the hay somewhere else. But we'll just have to wait and see till we start putting it together. So this project isn't going to get done anytime soon. There's several pieces to the puzzle that all have to get done to make it exactly the way I want to. I mean, we've got old fence line that still needs torn out, new fencing to be put in. We've got modifications to the pole barn. We actually probably have some repairs that we need to make to the pole barn. And then everything we build, we're going to probably overbuild. Since this is made for handling cattle, this needs to be a lot stronger than other things that we've built in the past. So we may end up welding quite a bit of this fencing together instead of just using woven wire fence like we have in other areas. We may actually overbuild this quite a bit to make it exactly the way we want to, so it'll last for years. And I want to get this done right the first time. I don't want to go back and have to redo this. So I'd like to put a lot of effort into it to building it right the first time. So that's going to take a long time. We'd be lucky to have it done by the end of the year. Probably be sometime next year before it's finished. But for the time being, to artificially inseminate this summer, I can still lift up the squeeze chute. I can move that around with the tractor, so I think we could just set it up temporarily and be able to artificially inseminate this summer and get by this year. And I think we'll be just fine. But this is trying to start on this cattle handling. This is the next big project. We were supposed to do it last year. And then I was planning on working on the well this year, but I was really disappointed in the well when we pumped it down. It was only 6 feet deep. Did not turn out to be, doesn't seem to be as robust of a well as everybody had said it was. So I was not impressed with the old well, so I put the brakes on developing that well right now. I'm going to research it a little bit more before I try to work on the well water and try to get something going there. So we're going to switch gears and move to the cattle handling instead for now. But it is the next big project, so there's going to be a lot of little things that are going to have to get done, a lot of little projects to work toward this one big one. But I think that's going to be it for today's video, guys. So I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.